My fiancée broke up with me for being too clingy after I supported her for 2 years while she found herself. She forgot that our entire life, from the apartment to the car, was in my name, and now she's living in her car, calling me non-stop. I am writing this the way I would tell it to a neighbor at the mailbox. No fancy language. Just what happened, in order, and why I did what I did. We start at the cafe where it popped, not the slow lead-up. The pop. She set it across a small, wobbly table near the window where the air conditioner rattled. Mid-afternoon, slow music, one barista wiping the counter with the same circular motion for 20 minutes. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and said she could not breathe around me. She said I was too clingy. I set my cup down exactly on the ring it had left earlier and slid a small envelope across the table. Inside was a spare key and a typed one-page plan. The plan listed her items by room and shelf, gave 2 pickup windows across 2 days, and named the doorman who would hand her boxes to her at the lobby desk. It also said that if she no-showed either window and texted ship, the rest would be sent to her last confirmed address, and the tracking number would be texted. She looked at the paper, looked at the key, looked at me. I did not make a speech. I told her I hoped she found whatever she was looking for. I said if she needed forwarding info, she could email the building office, not me. I stood, left a tip for a drink I did not finish, and walked out into a breeze that smelled like rain. I am not a detective. I am not a mastermind. I am a grown man with lines I do not move. I had set those lines in the first month we dated, and never bent them. No contact with exes, no male best friends who get hours and secrets, and no subsidizing an adult's find yourself tour. Walls hold up a house. If that sounds cold, that's because structure has a temperature. Before she ever moved in, we both signed a house share license. Not a lease, a simple license. It spelled out no exclusive right of possession, no subtenancy, and termination on breakup. On termination, her access reverted to lobby only for 72 hours, with 2 pickup windows over 2 days, supervised by the doorman. Anything she authorized by text to ship would go to her last confirmed address. We both initialed each clause. She read it, laughed that I sounded like a contract, and signed. I saved the PDF and the photo of her signature, like I save receipts for appliances. I am not romantic about paperwork. I am practical about peace. That license is why the lock change later that evening was not some dramatic stunt. When she ended the relationship in writing, "We're done," sent in a text right after the cafe, and left the spare key on the table, the license terminated. Building policy required me to pull her fob access and rekey immediately. The doorman had the inventory, the boxes, the plan, and the ID check instructions. That is not revenge. That is compliance with a policy we both read out loud. If you want the slow fill before the pop, here it is without dragging it out. I met her 2 summers ago. Emily. She was bright and loud in a way that felt like a warm front rolling in. She oversalted pasta, laughed at herself when she burned toast, and made long walks feel shorter. I don't date for fireworks. I date for calm. For the first year, she was calm. I told her my boundaries after the 3rd date. I do not do exes in any capacity. I do not do male best friends who operate like boyfriends. I do not bankroll vague paths. If we are under the same roof, there's a fair contribution we both respect. I said it out loud. I do not speak fine print. She repeated the rules back to me like a pilot reading a checklist before takeoff. It sounded like maturity. I believed her. I do not regret that. When someone looks you in the eye and promises to drive straight, you let them drive, and you keep your eyes open. Her lease ended near the end of our 1st year. She asked to stay with me for a few months while she figured out the next place. I said yes with conditions, and we signed the house share license. She contributed what we agreed, on time, most of that 1st year. When she was short, she told me before the due date and made it up the next month. I tracked it in a simple spreadsheet to keep fights from becoming math problems with missing numbers. The slide started in year 2. She got close to a group from a ceramics class. They talked about energy a lot. One guy in the group, Trevor, stood too close to people and used both hands to talk like he was framing you. I do not dislike people like that. I dislike what they do in other people's heads. I told her day 1, I don't do male best friends or collab partners who function like boyfriends. One warning. That's it. She said I was insecure. It's a common word people use when they want to bend your rules without admitting it. I told her it wasn't insecurity. It was a boundary. She called boundaries a cage. I said walls hold up a house. Around that time, the find yourself speech started. She quit one routine, tried another, posted quotes on the fridge about freedom. She bought a ring light and filmed coffee and thrift store videos. She smiled at her own reflection like she was meeting someone she liked better. I didn't mock it. Plenty of people sort themselves out in their 20s by trying things on. I didn't fund it either. I paid what I always pay in my house. She paid the contribution we agreed on. When she didn't, the spreadsheet showed it, and the next month fixed it. Then it didn't. Late became partial. Partial came with a story that ran longer than the deposit. I told her to scale back. She said I was controlling. I said wanting what we agreed was math, not control. The Trevor situation edged from group chat to separate texting to late-night collab walks. She called him a collaborator. That was the violation, not the label. Not jealousy. Boundary breach. I told her once. She rolled her eyes and said, normal people have friends. I told her, normal people keep their partner out of triangles. She pitched a month-long road trip with friends to find herself. I asked about funding. She said brand deals. I asked the numbers. She said she felt good about it. Vibes are not a budget. I told her she could go live her month, but the contribution didn't disappear because a camera turned on, and per the license, the spare key would live with the doorman while she was gone. We would reassess face-to-face when she came back. She said I was punishing her growth. I said I was protecting my peace. She left. The brand deals were gas money split 5 ways, and a lot of captions. She posted herself in places that looked like every other place, just at different angles. She came back mid-month for more clothes and left again. The second time she left, I wrote the 1-page plan that later went in the cafe envelope. Not revenge, a clean exit if needed. I kept living. Calm. She came back at month's end with stories and not a plan. She floated the idea of a long engagement and a small ceremony because it's not about the show, it's about the energy. I did not want a ceremony yet. I wanted proof we could carry weight. She asked if I loved her. I said yes. She asked if I could prove it by trusting her. I said love doesn't mean ignoring your own sense. We got engaged anyway because I was willing to trade time for clarity. I said the engagement did not erase the rules. She said she understood. She posted a close-up of her hand and wrote about choosing the person who chooses you back. The likes poured in from people I would not recognize on the street. Things steadied for a stretch. Then she relabeled Trevor again as collab because he was in a group project. Late walks, soft voice in the hallway, low laughter. I do not do triangles. I reminded her of the one warning. She called me clingy. The only thing I had clung to was my boundary. So I slid the key and the typed plan across the cafe table and let gravity do the rest. At 5 that evening, the locksmith knocked. Per the license and building policy, once she ended it in writing and surrendered the spare key, her license terminated and I had to rekey. Both locks were changed. The doorman, 12 years in the building unflappable, had the inventory, the boxes, the plan, and the ID rule. I photographed every room with timestamps, not to post later, but because a camera and quiet evening are the cheapest piece you can buy. I laid out her items by the list: bagged toiletries, box shoes, folded clothes the way she liked them folded. Being done doesn't require sloppiness. I numbered each box and wrote the number on the sheet. 2 copies. One for me. One for the doorman. Pickup windows were set. Lobby only. The morning after, she texted she would come by after lunch to get her stuff. I replied with a photo of the plan and said I wouldn't be home. The doorman would handle lobby pickup. She said it felt cold. I don't answer feelings with paragraphs when logistics are on the table. I repeated the doorman's name and the window. She showed in the first window and picked up 2 boxes. The doorman texted 2 picked up because I asked for that exact phrase. He said she tried to linger. He pointed to the line that said no loitering, lobby only. She pouted and left. She skipped the second window. She texted ship the rest then, in a dramatic flurry. On day 3, per the license and her text, I shipped the remaining boxes to her last confirmed address. Tracking went to her phone. She tried to call that evening to say we needed to talk like adults and that she deserved closure. Closure is something you give yourself. I owed her silence, and I paid it on time. Her friends did the usual chorus. 2 of them posted vague messages about controlling partners. One, Kate, sent me a personal message about how I traumatized Emily with rules and made her feel like a guest in her own home. I did not reply. I saved a screenshot and said nothing. That is how adults win those fights. Trevor sent Emily soft quotes about bravery and choosing yourself. He drove her around like a knight, if knights wore hoodies, and checked their reflection in the rear view. I do not call men like him names. I just refuse to let them be extras in my house. Emily moved into a sublet, promised regular payments, put plants on a windowsill like little soldiers, and forgot to water them. 2nd month late, 3rd month short. The leaseholder had a spine of her own and asked her to leave at the end of the week. Emily had boxes shipped to my building's lobby because she did not have a secure address for a bit. I refused them at the door and sent them back. I wrote, "No such person" on the slip, and the courier carried them away. They went to a friend's place 2 neighborhoods over. She lasted on a friend's couch as long as her mood did. Friends love a free spirit until their couch has a dent and the grocery bill rises. By the start of a cold month, she was sleeping in the back of her car after late nights with a collective. That word sounds better than no plan. I didn't learn this by following her. She told me in a voicemail after midnight when the temperature dipped below what you want to sleep in. She said she wasn't asking to come back, she just wanted to talk. She said she missed me. She said she could not stand how quiet it was without me. I did not call back. Silence is heavy when you have never lifted it. I blocked her for a weekend, and my apartment sounded like the thing I had been paying for all along. She came back with new numbers and fake accounts, small apologies, large excuses. She said she wanted to return the ring and talk. In our state, an engagement ring is a conditional gift tied to a wedding that never happened. I never asked for it back. I never waved the law around. She later mailed it on her own. I left the lawyers out of it. That is how you keep your skin unbitten when other people start flailing. She told people I had thrown her out with nothing and refused to let her get her belongings. The doorman had a pickup log with her signature and dates. I sent a single screenshot to the one mutual friend who asked me directly if her story was true. He said he thought as much and was tired of being asked to be an audience when the script did not match. She tried one last big swing, a dinner with her parents to close the loop properly. I did not want a scene. I went because I wanted a clean end that no one could rewrite later. The place had a chalkboard menu and too much pepper on everything. Her parents looked like they had a whole car ride conversation they were not done having. Emily opened with the Clingy story and the smothered lines. She wished I had been more supportive while she found herself. She wanted to walk out as the one who overcame me, not the one who outgrew her own choices. Her mother asked for grace. I asked what grace meant. She said maybe Emily could use the apartment address for a short period to get back on her feet. I said no. Her father stared at the table like he was waiting for it to answer. I like that man. I took out a thin folder, no mic, no speech, just receipts and dates. I slid across the signed license, the contributions log, the late entries, the doorman pickup sheet, the tracking numbers stamped delivered. I did not read them aloud. Her parents did. Emily tried to wave them away. Her father read slowly. Her mother's lips moved like she was reading a prayer. I did not mention Trevor. I did not need to. People can feel a ghost enter a room. I said I had asked for simple boundaries and had not moved them. I said I let her go, then kept her gone. If she needed help, she had parents who loved her and friends who liked posting quotes. I am not her safety net. I am a man who keeps his house clean. Her mother apologized for assuming the worst. I said I didn't need an apology. I need not to be misnamed in my own story. Emily said I was making her look bad. I said I had not insulted her once. I had spoken dates and numbers. Her father said that was enough. He asked Emily to ride home with them. She refused and said she had to meet someone. She left with a stride that looked like confidence from behind and panic from the side. I paid for my own meal, left the folder with her father, and threw my receipt away at the door. That feeling of putting paper in a bin told me exactly how done I was. She tried a building complaint that I had locked her out without notice. The manager asked for her papers. She had none. He closed the file and attached the signed license and the pickup log. She tried a fake legal-looking letter asking me to reimburse shared household items, candles, cooking oil, little things that bleed into each other when you live together. It was signed with a first name only. I filed it in a folder labeled firewood and went to the gym. She tried a stunt at my workplace, pretending to drop off my mail. Reception logged it as an unwanted contact per policy and flagged security. HR noted the incident. That is how you do it. No shouting in the lobby, paper then policy. A week before Thanksgiving, she sat on her trunk near my building's back entrance, wrapped in a blanket, hat down to her eyebrows, breath fogging the cold air. The front desk camera picked it up, because that is its job. I did not call police. I had the doorman walk out with a calm voice and a rule sheet. He did not say her name. He did not say mine. He spoke building language, which is colder than any insult. She moved the car and texted one line, "I am sorry." I believe she meant it in the way people mean it when they finally see the bill for a meal they ordered while the music was loud. I still did not reply. The check does not go down because you say you did not taste the appetizer. 2 days later, she sent a long message that sounded practiced. She said she had never meant to make me feel small. She said she had loved the way our home felt, and could we talk? I sent one text. I hope you find what you're looking for. Take care of yourself. She sent 3 more lines like different keys in a lock. None fit. The messages stopped. There was a deposit I had down for a small room above a local place we had once considered for an engagement party. Brick wall, decent lighting, you could eat without shouting. I had never canceled it. The deadline to repurpose was 3 days away. My deposit, my email thread. The manager said I could use it for something else. I booked it for a quiet appreciation night for building staff and their families. No speeches, no Instagram stories, just trays that stayed warm and a cake that was the right amount of sweet. The doorman's daughter's shoes squeaked when she danced. The maintenance guy guarded a snack table like a lineman. The cleaning crew took brick wall photos like magazine covers. I left early and slept like a lawn that finally got rain. If you call that petty, fine. I call it neat. Turning a leftover into something clean. I saw her once in a grocery aisle near canned tomatoes. She looked tired around the eyes. She said hello. I said hello. She said she had been meaning to thank me for being civil. I told her I do civil for me, not for points. She said she was staying with a cousin and picking up shifts, and it was fine. The word hung there like a piece of lint. She asked if we could hug. I said no. I don't hug open doors. She nodded and left with 3 things in a basket, like a person trying to make a meal from a small plan. I picked the undented can and went home. A plain card came 2 weeks later. Not a text, not a thick, fake legal letter. A card with a drawing of a small house. Inside she wrote short lines. She was moving to a smaller town to stay with an aunt and help with a new baby for a while. She was saving for a place of her own by spring. She had started morning shifts, and getting up before dawn felt like punishment. Then like a gift. She was mailing back the ring because she didn't want to carry something she hadn't earned back. There was no question mark hiding behind a smile. I did not ask for it. She mailed it on her own. In our state, it's a conditional gift, but I didn't need to wave that around. I put the ring in the back of my desk next to a small key I no longer need. I don't throw everything away. Keeping a reminder where it can't hurt you is better. The last line in the card said, "Thank you for not letting me pretend." I will carry that one sentence longer than any apology. I didn't write back. There was nothing left to write. Update. 2 weeks after the grocery store. I got the card, the ring, and a quiet stretch of days where my apartment sounded like itself. I changed the pillow covers she liked and moved the chair I always wanted beside the window. Morning light crawled across the floor and onto my feet while I drank coffee. I didn't spill because my hands were steady again. I ate at my table instead of on the couch because the table was mine. I took down the string of photos in the hallway and boxed them with the rest. I did not damage them. I added one sentence to an email to the building office. Please keep her off the intercom list permanently. They replied with a one-word confirmation and attached the building record that already had her set as license terminated, lobby only, completed. She tried once more from a new number with the line, "Can we meet for coffee and talk?" I did not go back to the same table in the same cafe to let her give me the same speech. I looked out the window at the morning and decided not to change a good day's shape. Final update. A month later, people ask for revenge. They want an explosion. The one I carry looks quiet. It's the lease with my name on it and a lock that opens for me and not for a scene. It's the car that starts for the person who keeps title, registration, and insurance current. It's a calendar that doesn't slide for someone who treats dates like pillows. It's a doorman who nods because I kept my rules and never asked him to clean up my chaos. It's HR's little note in a file that says unwanted contact, resolved. It's that folder that held the license and the log and the tracking numbers doing more than any speech ever could. It's a small room with a brick wall that fed the people who keep my building upright instead of feeding a story that did not. If you want flashier, I don't have it. I have lines I said out loud early, a license we both signed, and the discipline to follow what we both initialed. I have the relief of painting inside my own edges. I have a plant by the window standing on its own because I packed the soil down with my fingers until it held shape. I have a phone that lights up less and a day that fits me better. I have the kind of quiet that is not empty. It is a clean floor under my feet. If you are the man reading this who sees pieces of himself in these lines, write your rules down, even if only in your head. Tell them early. Enforce them when they bend. Do not argue for weeks. Do not be cruel. Do not be soft where it matters. Use paper. Use the lobby. Use the word no without apology. When someone calls you clingy for holding the line, let the name slide off because it does not match the surface. Change the locks when the license ends. Keep the pickup windows. Ship what they authorize. Save the screenshots. Walk through your home and notice the quiet. Sit in your window chair. Drink your coffee. Don't spill it. Your hands will be steady soon enough. She said I was clingy. The last time my phone lit with her name, it lit while I was replanting a small fern. I let it ring and went back to the plant. The soil felt cool and clean. I pressed it down until it held. The fern stood without leaning on the glass. That looked like something that could stand on its own. That is all.